First Contact and Betrayal. Captain Maya Chen stood at the viewport of the UES Harmony, watching as the massive diplomatic station of the Stellar Conclave grew larger against the backdrop of Proxima Centauri. The blue-green planet loomed behind the gleaming silver structure, a reminder of how far humanity had come, and how far they still had to go. "Captain, we're receiving docking instructions," Lieutenant Samira Kaur reported from the communication station. Her voice carried the same mixture of excitement and tension that Maya felt. "Acknowledged," Maya replied, straightening her formal Navy uniform adorned with just 3 simple medals, all she'd chosen to wear for this historic meeting. At 42, her short black hair was already showing streaks of silver, a testament to the stress of being chosen as Earth's first official envoy to the galactic community. "Is the diplomatic team ready?" Dr. Victor Okafor glanced up from his data tablet, his dark eyes reflecting the stars. "As ready as we'll ever be. The xenobiology and linguistics files are prepared. If they want to know about humanity, we've got the answers." Maya nodded, her hand unconsciously touching the small jade pendant hidden beneath her uniform, a gift from her grandmother and a reminder of Earth. "Remember, we represent all of humanity today. The first impression we make will echo for generations." The Harmony slid smoothly into its assigned berth, magnetic clamps securing it with barely a shudder. Maya took a deep breath, centering herself as she'd been trained to do during her years in Earth's combined space force. "Let's make history," she said. The diplomatic station's docking bay was a marvel of engineering, a cavernous space where vessels of wildly different designs coexisted in defiance of their disparate origins. As Maya led her team through the airlock, she was greeted by a delegation of aliens so diverse that her extensive briefings barely prepared her. Leading the welcoming committee was Ambassador Jolak of the Araxian Collective, a tall, slender being with iridescent skin that shifted colors as they moved. Their 4 arms were held in a gesture that Maya recognized as formal welcome. "Captain Chen of Earth." Jolak's translated voice came smoothly through the universal translator pinned to Maya's collar. "The Stellar Conclave welcomes humanity to the greater community of sentient species." Maya executed the perfect diplomatic bow she practiced countless times. "Ambassador Jolak, on behalf of Earth and all humanity, we extend our gratitude for your welcome and our hope for a peaceful and prosperous relationship." The formalities continued as Maya and her team were introduced to representatives of a dozen different species: the aquatic Melosians with their water-filled environmental suits, the crystalline Tyrexa who communicated through light patterns, the insectoid Varex, whose compound eyes reflected Maya's image in hundreds of tiny mirrors. But it was the Vordarian delegation that caught Maya's attention. Standing apart from the others, the 3 Vordarians observed with an air of detached superiority. Their humanoid frames were wrapped in elaborate purple robes, their pale skin had a faint bluish tinge, and their completely black eyes revealed nothing. "High Counselor Dex 4 of the Vordarian hegemony," Jolak introduced, with what Maya thought might be a hint of tension in their voice. Dex 4 inclined his head slightly, barely the minimum politeness required. "Captain," he said, his translated voice smooth and cold. "How fascinating that your species has advanced so quickly. From primitive radio signals to faster-than-light travel in less than a century. Most unusual." Maya maintained her diplomatic smile. "Humanity has always been curious and determined, High Counselor. We look forward to learning from the wisdom of established species such as yours." Something flickered in those black eyes. Amusement? Contempt? It was impossible to tell. "Indeed," Dex 4 replied. "We have much to teach you." The following days were filled with diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, and the complex dance of interspecies politics. Maya learned that the Stellar Conclave comprised 23 species from across the local galactic arm, with varying levels of technological advancement and influence. The Vordarians, she discovered, had been among the founding members and held significant power through their control of key trade routes and resources. During a formal dinner on the 3rd day, Maya found herself seated beside Klovax, a Melosian diplomat whose transparent environment suit revealed a sinuous, blue-scaled form. Captain Chen. Klovax's voice bubbled through his translator. Your species has made quite an impression. Not everyone expected humans to be so adaptable. Maya sipped her water carefully. We've had a lot of practice adapting to challenges on Earth. It's in our nature. A useful trait, Klovax replied, his large liquid eyes blinking slowly. Especially now. What do you mean by that? Maya asked, keeping her tone casual. Klovax's gills fluttered, a sign of nervousness, according to Maya's briefing. The Conclave is not always united in its approach to new species. Some believe in mentorship and gradual integration. Others prefer different methods. Maya nodded, understanding the unspoken warning. And where do the Vordarians stand on this spectrum? The hegemony has maintained its position for 9,000 years, Klovax said carefully. They do not welcome disruption. Before Maya could press further, a chime announced the next course, and Klovax turned to his other dining companion. That night, unable to sleep, Maya accessed the historical archives the Conclave had provided to Earth. Reading between the lines, she began to notice a pattern. Species that had risen quickly, developing technologies that might challenge Vordarian dominance, tended to suffer mysterious setbacks or conflicts that left them dependent on Vordarian assistance. She was still reviewing the data when her secure comm unit chimed. It was a message from Dr. Okafor. Need to see you immediately. Lab Section 42B. Maya found Victor in a small analysis lab, his face grim as he gestured toward a microscopic projection. What am I looking at? She asked. Nanomachines, Victor replied, enlarging the image. I found them in our food, our water. They're everywhere on this station, but they're not part of the station's systems. They're specifically designed to analyze human biology. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. Someone studying us. Not just studying, Victor said, his voice low. I think they're looking for weaknesses, biological vulnerabilities unique to humans. Over the next 2 days, Maya discreetly gathered more information. She cultivated relationships with the more friendly species, particularly the Araxians and the Tyrexa, who seemed genuinely interested in peaceful cooperation with Earth. During a private meeting with Jolak, she carefully broached the subject of the nanomachines. A concerning discovery, Jolak admitted, their skin shifting to a deep blue, an indication of distress in Araxian body language. This violates Conclave protocols on new species integration. I will investigate discreetly. Could the Vordarians be responsible? Maya asked directly. Zolak's skin flickered with patterns that the translator couldn't interpret, emotion too complex for the system. I cannot accuse without evidence, but historically, the hegemony has protected its interests aggressively. The following morning, Jolak's aide delivered a secure data crystal to Maya. The ambassador sends this with utmost discretion, the aide whispered. In her private quarters, Maya accessed the crystal's contents. It contained historical records not included in the official archives. Detailed accounts of how the Vordarians had systematically undermined rising species, particularly those showing rapid technological advancement. Most disturbing were records of diplomatic incidents where promising species representatives had died suddenly during their introduction to the Conclave. Maya immediately compiled a secure transmission to Earth, including all the evidence she'd gathered. As she encoded it with her personal quantum key, she added a final message. Recommend immediate activation of contingency protocols. Evidence suggests hostile intent. She never got to send it. That evening, the Conclave held a formal ceremony to officially recognize Earth as an observing member, the first step toward full membership. Maya stood before the assembled representatives, prepared to accept this honor on behalf of humanity. The people of Earth are honored by this recognition, she began, her voice clear in the vast chamber. We come seeking friendship, knowledge, and peaceful cooperation. We offer the same in return. She continued her carefully prepared speech, aware of the Vordarian delegation watching her with unusual intensity. High Counselor Dex Vor in particular seemed almost anticipatory. As she reached the ceremonial exchange of gifts, a crystal sphere containing Earth's artistic and cultural achievements, Maya felt a sudden, sharp pain in her chest. She faltered slightly but maintained her composure through years of military discipline. "Are you well, Captain Chen?" asked Sholak, genuine concern in their voice. "Quite well," Maya managed, though she could feel an unnatural cold spreading through her body. As she handed the crystal sphere to the conclave speaker, she noticed Dex Vor's satisfied expression. With sudden clarity, Maya understood. This was no coincidence. It was assassination, just as had happened to other promising species before. As the pain intensified, Maya excused herself and staggered back toward her delegation. Dr. Okafor rushed to her side, his medical scanner already out. "Maya, your system is shutting down," he whispered urgently. "Some kind of targeted toxin. I can't." Maya knew she had only moments. With the last of her strength, she pressed the emergency button on her neural implant, a direct quantum link to Earth Defense Command that no alien technology could detect. The message was simple: betrayal. Her eyes found Victor's, conveying everything she couldn't say aloud. Then Captain Maya Chen, humanity's first envoy to the stars, collapsed on the chamber floor. In the chaos that followed, medical teams rushed forward. But it was already too late. The official cause would be recorded as a natural failure of her cardiovascular system, a tragic but unexpected medical event. As her body was respectfully covered, Dex Vor approached the shaken Earth delegation. "Our deepest condolences," he said smoothly. "Rest assured, we will help guide humanity through this difficult transition." What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that in a secure bunker deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, General Takashi Yamamoto received Maya's final message. His weathered face showed no emotion as he turned to his staff. "Activate the Silent Storm Protocol," he ordered quietly. Now, across Earth, military installations went to high alert. In hidden shipyards throughout the solar system, vessels that officially didn't exist powered up their engines. Communication relays prepared to go dark. Humanity had come to the stars in peace, but they had prepared for war. And the stellar conclave had just made a terrible mistake. Humanity's response. The first sign that something was wrong came 3 days after Captain Chen's death. The regular communication channel from Earth to the diplomatic station simply went silent mid-transmission. The Earth delegation, still in mourning and awaiting instructions from home, seemed as confused as everyone else. "Technical difficulties," Lieutenant Kor explained to the conclave representatives. "I'm sure it will be resolved shortly." But it wasn't. Within hours, all Earth outposts went dark. Their research stations orbiting Jupiter and Saturn stopped transmitting. Their mining operations in the asteroid belt ceased all communications. Commercial ships in neighboring systems turned around mid-journey and headed back toward Sol. By the end of the day, every human presence outside Earth's immediate system had vanished. On the diplomatic station, Dr. Victor Okafor worked tirelessly to determine what had killed Maya. The official findings, provided by Vordarian medical specialists, indicated a rare but natural genetic condition that had caused sudden heart failure. Victor knew better. Late at night, alone in his lab, he had found trace evidence of nanomachines specifically designed to attack human cardiovascular tissue. The evidence was fragmentary. Someone had been thorough in eliminating traces, but it was enough for him to know that Maya had been murdered. High Counselor Dex Vor called an emergency session of the Conclave's Security Council. "The human withdrawal is concerning," he announced, his voice carrying just the right note of worry. "Such isolation suggests potential aggression. As a precaution, I propose we dispatch an observation fleet to the edge of their system." Ambassador Jolak's skin rippled with skepticism. Perhaps they are simply in mourning. Different species have different customs regarding death. Nevertheless, Dex Vor insisted, Prudence dictates we monitor the situation closely. The Vordarian hegemony will provide ships for this peaceful observation mission. What no one in the conclave realized was that humanity wasn't simply withdrawing, it was preparing. Deep in an underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Yamamoto stood before the combined military leadership of Earth. The wall screen showed a real-time tactical display of Earth's defenses and the positions of every known alien vessel. The Silent Storm Protocol is now fully implemented, reported Admiral Helena Kowalski of the Space Force. Solar system lockdown is complete. All civilian traffic has been recalled. The defense grid is active, but in passive mode. We're watching without being seen. And the Ghost Armada? Yamamoto asked. Admiral Jackson Wei stepped forward. At 62, Wei was the architect of Earth's secret fleet, ships built using reverse-engineered alien technology, gleaned from decades of discrete observation before official first contact. All 247 vessels are operational and in position, Wei confirmed. They're running silent, using the stealth systems. As far as the conclave knows, we have nothing more advanced than the diplomatic vessels we've shown them. Yamamoto nodded. What about Captain Chen's data transmission? Partial recovery, said Colonel Leila Mbeki, head of intelligence. The quantum burst was interrupted, but we received enough. The Vordarians have a history of eliminating potential competitors. They've done this before. Options? Yamamoto asked the room. Admiral Wei's expression was grim. We could strike first. The Ghost Armada could hit key Vordarian military installations before they even know we have the capability. And potentially start a war with the entire conclave. Kowalski countered. We don't know which species are complicit and which are innocent. Colonel Mbeki tapped her data tablet. I have an alternative approach. Operation Revelation. On the display, a complex strategic plan unfolded. Yamamoto studied it, then looked up at his assembled officers. We came to the stars in peace, he said quietly. But we will not be victims. Implement Operation Revelation. 7 days after Earth went dark, the Vordarian observation fleet reached the edge of the Sol system. 12 advanced warships, officially designated as diplomatic escorts, took up position near Neptune's orbit. No response to our hails, reported the Vordarian commander. Long-range scans show unusual energy patterns around Earth and Mars, possibly defensive systems. High Counselor Dex Vor received the report with satisfaction. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The humans would be isolated, contained, and eventually guided into a proper dependent relationship with the hegemony, just like countless species before them. What he didn't expect was the message that interrupted all conclave communications the next day. On every channel, across every conclave world and station, appeared the face of Admiral Jackson Wei. His expression was calm, his uniform simple but imposing. Greetings to all species of the stellar conclave, he began. I am Admiral Jackson Wei of Earth Defense Command. I speak today about the assassination of Captain Maya Chen and the future relationship between humanity and the galactic community. In the conclave chamber, pandemonium erupted. Dex Vor's face darkened as Wei continued. Captain Chen was murdered using targeted nanomachines specifically designed to attack human biology. Before her death, she discovered evidence of previous similar incidents against other emerging species. We have compiled this evidence and are transmitting it now to every member of the conclave. Data packets flooded the conclave networks, historical records, medical analyses, and most damning of all, the fragmented but clear evidence of the nanomachines that had killed Maya. Earth did not withdraw in fear, Wei continued. We withdrew to prepare our response. That response begins now. Across conclave space, sensors suddenly detected new signatures as hundreds of advanced human vessels decloaked simultaneously. They appeared inside defensive perimeters, near major space stations, beside crucial trade hubs, everywhere at once. In the Neptune sector, the Vordarian observation fleet found itself surrounded by 30 human warships that had materialized from nowhere. Impossible, whispered the Vordarian commander. Their technology. On every conclave world, citizens watched in awe as the human ships hovered silently. They made no aggressive moves. They simply existed where they should not have been able to go. Humanity came to the stars in peace. Y continued. That remains our preference. But we will not be manipulated, controlled, or eliminated. The evidence we've provided implicates the Vordarian hegemony in a systematic campaign to undermine emerging species. We call upon the Conclave to investigate these crimes. In the conclave chamber, Ambassador Jolak stood. I move for an immediate investigation into these allegations, they announced, their skin pulsing with determined blues and greens. This is outrageous. Dex 4 protested. These fabricated claims. The evidence speaks for itself, interrupted the Melosian representative, Klovax, and I second the motion for investigation. Within hours, the conclave had appointed an independent commission. The Vordarian delegation was placed under formal observation, their movements restricted while the investigation proceeded. On the diplomatic station, Dr. Victor Okafor met with representatives from a dozen species, sharing his findings about Maya's death. The Earth delegation, no longer isolated, became the center of intense diplomatic activity. 2 weeks later, Admiral Y returned to the conclave station aboard the flagship UES Defiance, a vessel whose advanced technology was now openly displayed rather than hidden. He came to witness the formal findings of the investigation. The Grand Hall fell silent as the Commission presented its conclusions. High Counselor Dex 4 and the Vordarian leadership had indeed orchestrated a systematic campaign to eliminate or subjugate promising species. Captain Chen had been their latest victim, but not their first. In light of these findings, announced the conclave speaker, the Vordarian hegemony is hereby suspended from the conclave pending further judicial proceedings. Their leadership will be held accountable for these violations of our most sacred principles. Dex 4, stripped of his position and under guard, glared at Admiral Wei with undisguised hatred. You have no idea what you've done, human. No idea what forces you've unleashed. We met his gaze steadily. We understand perfectly, Counselor. We simply refuse to be your victims. In the aftermath, a new balance of power emerged. Earth was granted full membership in the conclave, a process that normally took decades compressed into weeks. The Ghost Armada withdrew to Earth space but remained visible now, a clear signal of human capabilities. Admiral Wei stood at the viewport of the Defiance, watching the diplomatic station where Captain Maya Chen had died. Beside him, Ambassador Jolak's skin shimmered with thoughtful patterns. Your species is not what we expected, Admiral, they said. Humanity has learned the hard way to hope for peace but prepare for conflict, Wei replied. We would have preferred to join the galactic community gradually, through friendship and cooperation. And now, Jolak asked. We turned from the viewport. Now we rebuild trust, but with open eyes. Maya would have wanted that. As the Defiance prepared to return to Earth, news arrived that the Conclave had voted to establish a permanent memorial to Captain Maya Chen in the Grand Hall, a reminder of the price of peace and the danger of unchecked power. In the depths of space, the stars continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the struggles of the sentient beings who lived among them. But something had changed in the galaxy. A new species had emerged from its isolated cradle, not the primitive newcomers the Vordarians had fought to subjugate, but equals who would forge their own destiny among the stars. Humanity had brought silence to the stars, then truth, and finally justice. And the galaxy would never be the same again.